All right. Good morning, Michelle. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm really good. Thank you so much for your time. I was interviewing you actually for another job, and then I thought about this particular role for you. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your experience and what you've done. I know that you've done some procurement, purchasing specialist for SeaWorld. You worked for a company in Sanford in a temporary role. You were a supply planner for Phillips, production clerk for Phillips. You have your college degree. I mean, stellar candidate here on your resume. So I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about what the type of work that you have been doing. So let's kind of go back a little bit. Let's start with Phillips. So tell me about that job as a supply planner. What did you do for them?
Okay, well, first, thank you for the acknowledgement. But at Phillips with the supply planner, I ended up being remote for that position, and my day to day, basically, I would um get on, log in on the computer, and I would check the orders that were placed for that week by the order managers. And I would take all the orders that they've placed, um, extract them, export them into an Excel. And then once I get all the orders, I would then go through and filter out the orders that were for my particular department. And then once I had my list of orders for my area, I would then do another lookup for the current week of orders. And then now that I have my current week of orders and maybe a few past dues that might have gotten, missed by the production area, I would check to see if we had any shortages or missing material at all. And if we did, I would take those items and move them to the side and basically work on those throughout the week to see if we can get the material in, or if I needed to reschedule them, or if I needed the order manager to reach back out to the customer to say, hey, we're not getting this for 3 months. What do you want to do? So, I basically work on that. And then the items that we did have material for and we had enough and everything, I would create a schedule for production and pretty much loading every day in so many items to make sure that they're getting out these materials every day in a timely manner. And then if something happens and, let's say the inventory says we have 10, but we really have 5, then they will let me know, hey, we're short, we're missing 5. Then I would then kind of, okay, well, let me see who to give these 5 to while I try to get more in. So it was always something, but and for the most parts, in a wonderful world, we would just kind of push the schedule through and
Sure.
go from there.
All right. Well, great. So, and what type of business is Phillips?
They were a medical device company.
Medical device. Okay, great. Um, and then let's see here. And you were there for about
Almost
6 years
8 years.
in total. Okay, great. And then you went to well, you had a little gap in the employment. Your mom, so you took off a little bit of time
Yeah.
during that time, and then you worked a contractor role for SeaWorld for a few minutes or for a few months. That was a temporary position as a purchasing specialist.
Yes.
Huge fan of SeaWorld. We've actually worked with them in the past too. So why don't you tell me a little bit what you did as a purchasing specialist for SeaWorld?
Okay, so I basically was the person that the workers at all 12 parks would they would go into a system we used through InfoPath, and they would put in, like, hey, we need more screws to replace for this ride, or the parking lot it needs to be repaved, or we need washing powder because the costumes need to be washed, whatever it is that was needed for the parks, like internally. we put in the orders for those items to fix or clean or, keep up with basically the parks.
Okay.
And we each had our respective department that we worked for, and we would go through InfoPath and pull as many orders that we could, like, let's say you do like 5 or 6 at a time, and you basically go into SAP and fill out the orders that they're asking for. And excuse me, sometimes they might have, accidentally ordered the wrong size. Like we actually needed this to be a 15 pound, but I accidentally put 5 pounds. Could we get it, swapped? And then we would then reach out to the vendor and say, hey, they made a mistake. They wanted the 15 pound whatever it is versus the 5 pound. Could we, easily just send those back and order the 15 pound and send the invoice? And for the most part, they understood, like, yeah, no problem. We'll pick it up next day and, make the swap and go from there. And then sometimes, like, I know I made a mistake with ordering computers, and I put the address into the California location at the beginning, but they were saying I needed to do it at the end. So one computer went to California, but 3 of them came to the Orlando location. And so when they came, they were in my name, and they was like, "You have 3 computers," and I'm like, "No." But then we come to find out it was just an easy fix of changing the address, putting it back on FedEx, and then sending it right over to the California area. But then I also learned, hey, when you're putting the address in for another location, you put it in at the end, not at the beginning. So
Okay. Well, you just, it would almost be like I queued you up for that and I didn't. But I was going to ask you, my next question was a time that you had to overcome something. And so, that was a really great way to, share that you are open to feedback. We all make mistakes. We learn how to fix it. You almost learn more sometimes when you make a mistake. So
right.
I'm really glad you mentioned that. Oh, and we did talk a little bit about your computer skill set. You did mention it a couple times in some of your answers for me. And we talked specifically about Excel and some of the work that you did in it. And you did tell me that you worked with VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And was that at SeaWorld, or was that at your latest position at Paradies?
Um, Parodies, and also with in vivo then planning.
Okay, perfect. Gotcha. That's the Philips in vivo.
Yes.
All right. And so then most recently, you were working another assignment with a company that does, they're like little gift items, right? Is that what they do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gift items, and they also make print shirts.
Print shirts. Okay. And so you were working, doing a lot of data entry, some customer service for them. Um, Briefly, could you tell me a little bit about what you did there regarding like data entry? What type of data were you entering?
So when we would purchase those little gift items, and
Mhm.
even making the shirts, when before we actually purchase those items and make those shirts, we would have to go into the system depending on what store it is. Let's just say it's Walmart, and we would have to enter each individual item, the name, the description, how much we're charging for it, how much we're selling it to Walmart for, um color, just literally like everything about this item, to make sure that it's in, their system properly. Excuse me. And we would have to make sure that we have a nice photo of the item. So when you look it up online, it looks like what it is that you're, trying to purchase.
Sure.
And for the shirts, it was a little bit different, because we had to kind of use like a digital of the make a digital of it versus the actual shirt before print. And that was pretty much it for the data. It would just vary from store to store. Like the entering for Walmart may be different for Target, and the entering for Walmart or Target may be different for like 7-Eleven. So each store has its own software and website that you would use and different things that they would ask for to put into the system. And you just kind of had to, once you learn it, it's like, okay, well, this store I have to do way more than this store, or, vice versa. Excuse me.
Okay. Well, great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop this part of the interview. Thank you for being so detailed and explaining all of your duties and your skill set. Don't go anywhere. We got a few more things to chat about.
Okay.